changes. Now, in the radio interview that we just did, that you can find on
We
iHeart,
did.
we talked about health changes. But there's always I've seen some miraculous healings that people have done
Sure,
just through
sure, sure.
manifesting. So and I love how you kind of step them through. So what's the step through for what is it
Let's
that they
talk
want
about
to
an
do?
alcoholic.
Okay,
I
alcoholic. Yeah,
mean, he's really bad. He's
right.
really lost. But what emerged when we did the journal, and he was annoyed with it because he would get to describe the misery he felt. He was gifted at describing the garbage pail he found his life in.
Aw,
It's terrible.
yeah,
But I could
yeah,
laugh, but I wouldn't laugh
right.
at him. But I mean, saying, you're not that, Mr. Winnie. So then it was a challenge for him to go back. So I said, well, what do you want to have? He said, I don't want to drink. Well, I mean, that's what you don't want. What do you want? I said, I don't want to know. I don't want to stop drinking. So okay.
Mm,
Do you remember when you were happy?
mm,
Yeah. And so he talked about some of the snow day. The snow was coming down, and the kids, it was play day. He was out, he was free, he was happy. And then another time he was on a vacation at someone's wedding, and he saw the sunset out on one of the islands and was just filled with a sense of joy. And then when we try to move it from there to there, he would get frustrated because he could not connect with that loveliness and light. It wasn't his time. Now,
mm.
so he stopped journaling. I mean, he stopped. We disconnected. And then he came back and said, I'm completely sober and I've fallen in love.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, what happened? Now, I don't mean to say that the brilliance of the journal, but what I did was to say, here you're miserable, and here there's another way of being that you've been in,
Mm,
And he wasn't ready to let go of the pain body. He
mm,
was still entranced and enchanted by it.
mm-hmm, mm.
So it's another variation, but as he got expanded, and then what happened was we followed up on it, he really had a spiritual awakening. I mean, he stepped outside the pain body. He wasn't drinking. He didn't need to go to AA or anything because he wasn't an issue.
Mm.
If
So it
that
was,
makes
he
sense.
no,
And
it absolutely does.
yeah.
He had the vision of what would be possible if he could just drop the story that he had before. He had another story
But
that
the
was better.
story was very powerful, and that's why we want to keep the story
Mm,
bite-sized,
mm-hmm.
because this ego, this unacknowledged, unappreciated part, is what is really running us. But we have such a denial of it. It is so, well, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. This sounds too simple. Oh,
Mm,
really?
mm-hmm.
It's, see, once you wave, that's always already there, and just a few words here. And now look at the words that don't feel good, and then you start to appreciate the contrast. Okay, what feels better?
Mm,
Well, that feels better, but then, and then you become clear that there is this structure, there is this fear
mm,
body or resistance or whatever you call it, and then there is this clarity of the sky's the limit. Your
mm.
imagination is endless for who you are and what you want and what you're meant to be and have here.
Yeah, so it's almost like the distillation. When you have all these words and stories and blah, 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 you're like
Walking
all
and
over the
chewing,
place.
but the journal anchors you to
Yeah,
the experience within you. We don't want you to let your head run you around the
right,
block. You
right.
want to see what you're thinking from the clarity of that witness consciousness. Just observe it,
Mm,
notice it,
mm,
and how did that feel? Is that true? How would I like to feel? And then you start to take charge of your life and your destiny.
wonderful. What a beautiful piece of work. It's really powerful. Those are incredible
I
stories.
I get more energy working with someone than at the end than I do at the beginning. I mean, it's just so it to teach it, to walk with it, to see people get it. It's so thrilling.
It's magic. Like you see,
Yes,
there
it is.
is
It is
magic in
magic.
life, right?
It's magic, but the magic is if you're not experiencing magic, you're doing something wrong. You're holding on to
Right,
some old tape
right.
that's it's like a can of product that's past due. I mean,
Yeah.
it's expired.
Right, right. All right, we've been talking to Dr. Michael Perlman. Your website is lawofattractionjournaling.com. And you can go get started with a journal. Once you're on a journal, you can call and ask Michael any questions that you want every
Sure.
Thursday. And
Well, we
then,
call into the group, but then write out through our Law of Attraction Journaling Facebook group. Let us know any questions, and we have answers. We have all sorts of other materials. We have various ways of understanding this, the key life insights, which is appreciating contrast, being clear, expanding your vision, and then the action, the effortless, reasonable, harmonious action. And how to, as you get to learn that, but then work with what you think and feel through those perspectives, it comes together for you.
excellent. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. You're lovely.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show, or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.